Title 18, Section 2381, Capital Felony Treason, in the presence of two or more witnesses of the same overt act, or in an open court of law. If you fail to timely move to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and honor your oath of office, you are subject to the charge of capital felony treason. If upon conviction, you are subject to a $10,000 fine, 10 years in jail, or both. Get it? Why did I put that up there? Well, I'll tell you. Number one, Fuzzy's pissed. I'm tired of this same horse shit every year. Round and round and round we go. Why am I pissed? Well, okay. Now, I watched a couple different things today. Reed Henricks, Guns and Ammo, some of Chris Ann Hall's constitutional stuff, Joanne Martin's stuff. Everybody keeps talking, oh, we got to do this. Oh, I forgot left out. Coda Boy 32. Now, he had the right idea. He's all happy about, what's his name? Richardson? I can't remember. Something like that. Him and another fella, they're running for office, and things look good down there. But here's the thing, people. You pay money to the National Rifle Association. You pay money to the Guns of America. It's the same old scare tactics. Congress, and to get this in your head, Congress has never had the ability or the authority or the power to pass firearm laws. Grab these people by the back of the neck and drag them out in the street, kick them in the doggone rear end and send them down the street. Years ago, many, many, many years ago, they put this in here. This is a Bill of Rights. It says, the convention of a number of the states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and extending the ground of public confidence in the government. It will be best assured this will benefit all the people of the institutions. So they passed this. That means Congress, the Senate, the dead-ass Supreme Court justices, your governors, your lawyers, they are constitutionally barred from infringing your right. These are the amendments. Right here. See this? What does this say? This is in your Constitution. This is your Constitution. And the people up there, Congress and them, they're not doing their jobs. You got to yank them out of there because they're not going to police themselves. Gentlemen, let me tell you this. Pull up your big girl panties and do something. All this talk, oh, well, we'll get this guy in, we'll get that guy in, and, another 100 years down the line, we might get this straightened out. It can't wait that long. It can't wait that long. You just look at all the people that are running for government right now. Socialist. These are the kind of people you don't want in there. Then you got the nitwit Republicans who stuck that propaganda law into the National Defense Authorization Act so they could cause discontent and stuff in the United States. Fake news, crisis actors, the whole smear. Okay, now, I'm pissed. I'm sorry to be pissed, but that's the way it is, because I love the country, and I don't want my grandkids growing up in a screwed up world that we left for them. Okay, the 16th Amendment, Second, 177, section 259. The general misconception is that any statute passed by legislators varying the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and for any statute to be valid, it has to be an agreement. I already showed you it's not an agreement because they are constitutionally barred. It is impossible for both the Constitution and a law violating it to be valid. Only one must prevail. The general rule is an unconstitutional statute, even though having the form and the name of law, is in reality no law. It is wholly void and ineffective for any purpose since it unconstitutionally dates from the time it was enacted, not just from the day the decision so branded it. An unconstitutional law in legal contemplation is inoperable as it had never been passed. It imposes no duty, confers no rights, creates no office, bestows no power or authority on anyone, affords no protection, and justifies no act performed under it. Now, I told you before that the Senate or the Congress has no powers. They've been trying to use, under the guise of different clauses, like the Interstate Commerce Clause. I can tell you this. The Interstate Commerce Clause was only there because they wanted to, the primary purpose of the clause is to prohibit the states from imposing taxes and tolls on merchandise as it's transported through the states for the purpose of buying and selling. That's what the original Commerce Clause meant. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. The General Welfare Clause. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Webster's Dictionary says, it's an exemption from any unusual evil or calamity, the enjoyment of peace and prosperity, or the ordinary blessings of society and civil government applied to states. It has nothing to do with handouts, relief, or the feds doing anything that they think is good, anything that they think is a good idea. In Federalist 41, Madison pointed out, okay, they don't follow the Constitution because they don't know the Constitution. I told you. What, did Joe Biden constitutional class teach all these lawyers out there? It makes me wonder. They go to school and they're supposed to learn something. They didn't study the Constitution. What they did, they studied what other judges said about the Constitution, making that judge the law and not the Constitution. Then we got the necessary and proper clause down here. That's been used a lot. Oh yeah. Okay, the clause delegated to Congress to pass all laws necessary and proper to execute its declared powers. This was only put in so the necessary and proper clause means only what the enumerated rights are. There are no rights in there for them to pass firearm laws. Never has been, never will be. The clause only permits execution of powers already delegated and enumerated in the Constitution. No additional powers were granted by that clause. Period. If you read the Declaration of Independence, people, so you understand where all this stuff is, you need power behind you. Read it, understand. The Second Amendment to our federal Constitution recognized the God-given right to keep and bear arms is to be free from any interference whatsoever from the federal government. According, the federal government is nowhere in the Constitution granted authority to abridge, restrict, infringe in any fashion whatsoever guns or ammunition. All restrictive laws made by Congress, all regulations made by the BATF are unconstitutional as outside the scope of powers granted to Congress and to the executive branch of the Constitution. Restriction on arms and ammunition is not one of the enumerated powers delegated to Congress or to the executive branch. That's why I'm so doggone pissed. Stop. Think you can throw money at something and change it. You people are the ones who have to change it. This is your Constitution. The only keepers of the Constitution are the people. George Washington said that. U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Any statute to be valid must be in agreement with it. It's impossible for a law that violates the Constitution to be valid. All laws that are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Where rights are secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule-making or legislation which would arbitrate them. Now you got these people up here, they're twisting the Constitution into anything that they want it to be. And that's not how the Constitution, you're supposed to interpret the Constitution with the original intent, and that would be your Declaration of Independence, that would be your Federalist Papers. Like I said, these people did not study the Constitution. They only studied what other judges said about it, making the judge the law. No one is bound to obey a constitutional law, and no courts are bound to enforce it. These judges are going way out of whack. They are breaking the law. Pure and simple, they're breaking the law. They are supposed to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and honor that oath of office, or they can be subject to the charge of capital felony treason, or as we like to call them, traitors to the United States of America. If you can't follow the laws, don't try to shove it down our throats, because we're not going to follow them either. You know, it's time to liberate America. Get rid of the anti-constitutional people. Get rid of the anti-American people. Get rid of the... we got to get rid of a lot of things. We don't need world government. We have a constitution. That's the law we go by. We don't go by the United Nations or anything else. We've got to remove the United Nations. I want to thank you guys for watching. This is going to take an hour and a half to load up, or two. And anyway, thank you for watching. But don't let this continue. I told you before. They put this Bill of Rights in there, but it's part of the Constitution. They put that in there on 1789. 1789. They put that into the Constitution, making it part of the Constitution, and it was to stop any misconstruction or abuse of the powers. That's why the restrictive clauses were added, because government can't be trusted. They're not going to police themselves, people. Get off your ass.